Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Chris Maloney back with you for another edition of the Throwdown with Chris Maloney, episode number 5. Coming to you live tonight, Friday, October the 6th, 2023. And yes, it's getting colder outside. It's definitely feeling like October. I think 20 degrees, I think was the high in London today. And then over the weekend, down to I think 12 and then 10 and like 11 degrees all week next week. It's just, and you got rain coming up as well. So it's and not only is it going to get cold, it's going to get messy. I was going through the trails today, taking my dog for a walk, and my daughter, noticing all the leaves on the ground, everything else, and it's fall is here, and fall is also here because it is because of all the pumpkin spice everything that exists. And sure enough, my wife about a week ago, I think, it picked up this pumpkin spice spray can whipped cream thing. I didn't taste it, but kind of looked interesting. And then in the fridge right now, there are Pillsbury, the cookies. And it's the ones that you just pop in the oven, and 20 minutes later they're done. And sure enough, pumpkin spice as well. So yeah, it is pumpkin spice season. And I looked today, and besides Chris, one of my favorite words is Christmas, and 79 days away. So guys, yeah, it's coming up. That being said, where am I here? I'll do as I've been doing the past couple episodes. Pats 1-3. So excited last week, game against Dallas, and all of a sudden I was like, I'm going to watch this, watch this game and see Mac Jones, everything else. So I tune in the TV. It's like 4:00 Eastern time. Game scheduled to go, 4:15ish, or whatever the case may be. And they showed the end of, I think it was Washington and Philadelphia, and that went down to the wire. I was like, man, this is exciting. So I end up watching the end of that, waiting for the Pats game to come on. Sure enough, Pat's game come on, and they got blown out like 38-3. I want to say the final score was something like that. And I wasn't too happy with Mac Jones. I hate saying this as a Patriots fan, but I think the end of days are coming for Bill Belichick as far as being in New England goes. Maybe his coaching days are over with as well. He could do something else. He could even do something else with New England because of everything he's done there. But it's just not working. Since Tom Brady left, it's been different. Obviously it was, Brady leaves and you're looking for quarterbacks, everything else. And, they went through the Cam Newton phase, and they went through the, I think Zappy or whatever. I think his last name was Zapp, but he was competing against Mac Jones last year. And then this year, Mac Jones, I was excited about. I drafted him in one of my fantasy football leagues, and he's been benched pretty much the entire season so far. But anyways, they're 1-3, and sure enough, fantasy football, I'm 1-3 in both my ESPN and the NFL leagues as well. So yeah, so it's maybe I'm the bad luck. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have played fantasy football this year. Who knows? Fantasy hockey begins Tuesday, so a couple days away, October 10th, officially. Excited about that. Connor McDavid was my number 1 pick. Again, like last week, as I was saying, 150 points. They're estimating for him. So yeah, it's I'm looking forward to fantasy hockey, especially considering the fact I'm sucking at fantasy football this year. But anyways, speaking of football as well, rest in peace to the one and only Dick Butkus, WrestleMania 2 special guest referee, by the way. I'll go into a little bit of detail about him for those that aren't familiar with him. If you grew up in the 80s like I did, the 90s, everybody knew the name Dick Butkus. And this is from his Wikipedia there. But American football linebacker, sports commentator, and actor, played football for the Chicago Bears in the National Football League from 1965 to 1973. Invited to 8 Pro Bowls in 9 seasons, so basically their all-star game, and named the first team All-Pro 6 times, twice recognized by his peers as the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year, renowned as a fierce tackler, and for the relentless effort which he played, widely regarded as one of the greatest and most intimidating linebackers in professional football history. So yeah, he was number 51 for the Bears, ended up passing away yesterday, October the 5th at the age of 80 in Malibu, California. I didn't go all the way down the article yet. My wife had told me that he had passed away, and but I didn't see anything about died in his sleep. So he died in his sleep peacefully. So yesterday, and then coincidentally enough, Thursday Night Football game had the. Let me find my notes again. I'm clicking left and right, and I'm not clicking the right spot. There we go. So yeah, and Bears played Washington yesterday, Soldier Field, and end up getting their first victory of the season, and beating Washington yesterday 40-20. So yeah, Bears picked up a huge win there in Soldier Field yesterday, and the same day they announced the passing of Dick Butkus. So thoughts and prayers, family, friends, as well as fans. I'm not a Chicago fan, but I mean, again, 80s, the whole Bears thing, Saturday Night Live with the whole skits that they had on there as well. It was hard not to not necessarily have the Bears as your favorite, but it was hard not to like the Bears. But Dick Butkus, again, WrestleMania 2, special guest referee in the Andre. It's now the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, but Andre won that Battle Royal, and like I said, Dick Butkus, WrestleMania 2 special guest referee. And guys, if you're watching, listening, thank you very much. I'm enjoying the stats. Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, as well as audio. It's no longer Anchor. It's now StreamYard for podcasters, I think it is. But it filters out to Google Podcasts as well as Apple Podcasts and, iHeartRadio and stuff like that. So I'm enjoying the stats. So, yeah, like, subscribe, and do all that jazz. Anyways, 7 minutes in, I'm going to be off in the time for SmackDown to air. So I get 53 minutes to go. But guys, as I always do, anniversaries, birthdays. Anniversary. Reggie Parks passed away on October 7th, so tomorrow, and in 2021 at the age of 87 years old. He was a wrestler, but he's most renowned for wrestling fans with regards to the Winged Eagle Championship. So if you know that historic title for the WWE, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, Ted DiBiase, that main event, segment, that was the Winged Eagle Championship. That is the one. I think if Cody Rhodes were to ever win the big one, I think you would see that championship make a return. He is also the guy, not Reggie, but Cody Rhodes, to bring back the, that IC championship, WrestleMania 3, Macho Man, Steamboat, all those guys there. So anyways, that is the name of Reggie Parks. He was in the Hall of Fame voting for CPWHOF last year. And I forget where he placed. Only 5 names, but he didn't win. But I think he might be back in this year as well. Have to wait for the official announcement to come up. So the little plug first at the start of the show here. Birthday as well on the 7th. So tomorrow, Paul the Butcher Vachon. He turns 86 years old. Anniversary, Bret Hart wins the WWF Championship, defeated Nature Boy Ric Flair. That was the Winged Eagle. To win his first WWF championship in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan on October 12th, 1992. We got birthday on the 13th so next Friday, the one and only Weasel, the new Weasel, so to speak, Don Callis. Hard to believe he's this old, but 60 years old on the 13th. And then finally, Killer Kowalski, born on October 13th, 1926. The great Killer Kowalski, but passed away August 30th, 2008 at the age of 81 years old. So guys, there's anniversaries and birthdays coming up for the next week or so. So tidbits and topics. Yeah, it was interesting because I was putting the show together today, and I was like, there is not a lot to talk about. And then sure enough, there's always a lot to talk about. I mean, I'll get to the big news in a bit there. But guys, John Cena, LA Knight joined forces against the Bloodline. That happened last Friday. So officially, LA Knight is getting the rub, the main event rub, so to speak, taken on Solo Sikoa as well as Jimmy Uso. That is taking place tomorrow night. I'll get more into that later in the show as well. Battle in the Valley returns to the San Jose Civic Center. San Jose Civic. Sorry. Everything when I was a kid growing up was always Civic Center. So It's the San Jose Civic, but I'm always probably going to add that word center to it. That is January 13th, 2024. That was, I believe, last year they had Mercedes Moné make her New Japan Pro Wrestling American debut, was on that show there for from the San Jose Civic. So I think that's I know it's only the second show they've had, but I believe that was the one where Mercedes Moné, like I said, wrestling in-ring debut. This was interesting. I haven't had a chance to listen to this yet, but CM Punk to Impact with a question mark beside it. And then it's a Josh Alexander interview from What Culture. That is on YouTube. That was released on the 3rd. And then Josh Alexander also talks about the PWI 500. It's a great way for Impact Wrestling to be recognized. So yeah, that's something I'm going to be listening to probably over the weekend here. Chris Van Vliet, I've listened to mostly pretty much everything he's put out there. Haven't listened to the Hulk Hogan episode yet, but did listen to the Samantha Irvin episode. She is hilarious. She is a very gifted and talented artist, so to speak, and she fits in well with the WB. Reminds me so much of Lillian Garcia, from back in the day. But she was a guest on the 3rd, and he's when I say Chris Van Vliet usually has been releasing an episode a week, and he's released 3, I think, in the past week. He had Kathy Kelly that was on, and she was a nice listen as well with regards to how much transition, how she got started to where she's at now. And then, like I said, Samantha Irvin was a 3rd, and then Hulk Hogan was yesterday. Like I said, haven't listened to the Hulk Hogan one yet, but they are all on YouTube, guys. And you can check those out. If you go to CWN's YouTube page, there's all these little subsections, and if you get to one that says hashtag Canuck Proud, you'll find anything Chris Van Vliet does, because he is Canadian, in that category, amongst other things. But the only downside about that, they're in order of, and I may change this up just to make it a little bit easier for people to find, but they're in order of popularity. So how many views they've had. And I still think to this day, it's Judas by Chris Jericho is number 1. And I think following that is Edge making his return at the Royal Rumble, after all those years. I could be wrong, but I might change that up. But if you go there, you'll be able to find the Chris Van Vliet, episodes, as well as just, check him out on YouTube. I think it's just Chris Van Vliet or CVV. I don't think it's CVV. I think it's Chris Van Vliet. So, but yeah, check out the interviews, guys. Trish Stratus talks Becky Lynch, Tiffany Stratton being the GOAT, Bad Girl Tour, and more. This was Reality Wrestling with Booker T on YouTube. That was released yesterday there. I haven't listened to that one yet, but it's interesting, the talks of Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton, and Becky being involved in that feud with Tiffany Stratton, and giving her nothing but praise. I think it'd be interesting to see Trish Stratus go down to NXT to battle her there. Just a one night only type thing. I think that would be cool. But where do you do it? Or do you save it for Deadline? But then again, how do you, it's interesting because it's the one championship, so to speak, that Trish Stratus has not won. That being said, put her down to NXT and have Stratton as champion and see if they can replay what they did with Becky Lynch just in Trish Stratus's way. I think that would be cool there, guys. But check it out, Reality Wrestling Booker T YouTube, that was released yesterday. LA Knight article out there on CBS Sports, took 20 years to become an overnight success. Haven't read that one yet, but with all the LA Knight praise and everything that's been going on, apparently, this is what I read as well. He was the #1 merch seller, according to WrestleNomics, even surpassing John Cena and what John Cena has been doing lately. So when it comes to merch sales right now, apparently LA Knight is just on fire. So it'll be interesting to see where he's going to be at Royal Rumble, if they pull the trigger there, and what he's going to be doing at WrestleMania. But we'll get through tomorrow first. And then this was interesting. So you talk about your Mount Rushmore, so to speak, of wrestling. Rey Mysterio is on mine. The other 3, it'd be I'd have to really think about, but Rey Mysterio is right up there. Rumor has it, and this is according to Slam Wrestling, which I read just this afternoon here. 2 things. So Rey Mysterio may leave the LWO and be replaced by Dragon Lee at Fastlane tomorrow. That is going to be interesting because of the fact, how do they make it happen? Does he get jumped? But then Dragon Lee's a babyface. He's going against Austin Theory tonight on SmackDown. And then if he goes in, give the group to Santos, but do they eventually become heels again? Because to me, Santos Escobar works better as a heel. The same way when you think about Andrade El Idolo over in AEW works better as a heel. That's just my personal opinion. But yeah, when it comes down to it, it's going to be interesting to see if that takes place. And I'm curious and interested all at the same time. And then Mercedes Moné, being mentioned again, might debut AEW at Full Gear. The two biggest female superstars, so to speak, was Jade Cargill and the noise that she was making in Mercedes Moné with regards to this past year. And then Cody Rhodes, obviously, and then Edge, Adam Copeland. So it's going to be interesting to see. I can see it happening easily. The ties that obviously, AEW, Tony Khan have to New Japan Pro Wrestling, she's fit right in, especially with Jade Cargill moving on to the WWE. And, you need more women, so to speak, focused and showcased. And I think she would be an easy fit over there at AEW. That being said, how long is it before Bayley do we see Bayley eventually make her way over there as well? Because they are tight. And, and then you think about Charlotte Flair, so to speak, and you think about her affiliation, who her husband is. And, but I don't think we'd ever see Becky Lynch leave the WWE, but especially her ties to Seth Rollins, but I never thought we'd see Adam Copeland in AEW, which I'll get into in just a minute here because I'm now into topics. And first thing I'll mention, I do this according to date, so that's why Adam Copeland is next. NXT No Mercy thoughts. So it was interesting because, I do CWM Predicts, and when I do CWM Predicts, it's sometimes a toss-up. Sometimes I do it on the fly. So a lot of times I'll have my picks just based on what I've been seeing on TV. With regards to this, though, it's interesting because the fact is you've got NXT, the No Mercy had taken place, and I was pretty confident about all my picks. And then when Baron Corbin sneaked that one out, I was like, what is this crap? And to me, it doesn't play, good storyline wise because of the fact Braun Breaker loses to Baron Corbin at the PLE. And now not Baron Corbin, but Braun Breaker is apparently, we know he's set up for NXT next Tuesday. So it's going to be interesting there. Big thoughts as well. Dominic Mysterio loses. I'm like, yeah, they pulled the trigger on Trick Williams. And then they basically took the title off of Trick it's going to further the Carmelo versus Trick Williams storyline. It's one point in time they were going to be brought up together, so to speak. And with that being said, it's interesting now because you've got, Trick Williams. He's good on the mic. Carmelo Hayes good on the mic as well. Carmelo Hayes better in the ring at this point, but who knows where we're going to be a year from now. And finally, Dragunov, right choice there, man. He's a house of fire. NXT UK, when he was champion over there, he was a house of fire as well. But the dragon, so to speak, the Mad Dragon, I think they call him. It's going to be interesting to see who he feuds with and whether or not they take that title off of him and how long it's going to be. I see him having I almost said Walter, but Gunther title reign, with regards to that NXT championship. And then Becky Lynch and Stratton was interesting as well. Becky Lynch injured, obviously, in the match, but she heals quick and made Stratton looks like an absolute superstar. So, good for Becky Lynch there in that match. All right, guys, we'll get into the news. Adam Copeland is All Elite. Took place last Sunday, and it's been all over the internet, so AEW heavily promoting it on their social medias, as they should. Obviously, they've been promoting on TV. His first official match, AEW Ring, is coming up next week. Next Tuesday. I'll get more into that as well. And then, of course, we had the promo that took place this past Wednesday to close out the show. We had him getting into Luchasaurus as the exclusive after the show went off the air. So it's been all Adam Copeland. It's been Adam Copeland week, so to speak. What I don't appreciate is this: everybody's got the right to say what they want to as a fan. I go to an event, Adam Copeland Edge is on that show. He's got merch for sale. I buy that merch. It's, it doesn't give me the right to be at a show, to watch him on TV, to buy his merch and think I've got any more in an opinion than anybody else in this world. That being said, so Twitter/X, the backlash, so to speak, that he's been facing about, oh, hey, you're a traitor. You're with the WWE for 25 years. You had your send off in Toronto, Maple Leaf colors, all this sort of stuff. And he was getting trashed on X with regards to being a traitor, and fans be like, oh yeah, I'm not going to watch AEW, and other people be like, oh, it's going to take me a while to get used to this, and blah 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 blah. And then I was on Facebook and I was on Slam Wrestling, and I made a comment. I was like, you know what? You want to see Edge? Go to WWE Network or Peacock. You want to see Y2J? Go to WWE Network or Peacock. It's like he moved on. And my comment was this. My comment was, AEW and Edge, Adam Copeland is not getting any younger. And obviously he had that huge break because of the fact is he was injured and they wouldn't clear him. And now AEW is giving him that platform to be able to do what he loves in front of the fans that love him. And it doesn't matter if he's in AEW, WWE, or NXT, or New Japan Pro Wrestling, whatever the case may be. The fact is, it was his choice. And he even said in, certain interviews and stuff like that, this past week, he was like, he wasn't sure when he was in Scotiabank Arena at that show in August with regards to his career. He thought this was it. He thought he was done. And if you still have that itch at his age and having that career that he's had, especially when you've got guys like Chris Jericho that he's grown up with, you got guys like Christian Cage that he definitely has grown up with. He said there's a lot of new faces in the locker room, but there's a lot of familiar faces as well. And you got Tony Khan, like Adam Copeland at the post media, the press conference there, the scrum. He looked like a kid. I mean, he was happy. He was enjoying himself. He was laughing. He was smiling. And if he's still loving this and loves to do this at his age and after the career that he's had, man, just leave the guy alone and just enjoy it. You don't want to watch, don't watch AEW. It's like loving a hockey team, and all of a sudden somebody leaves that hockey team and it's like, oh, I'm not going to watch that team anymore. It's like, yeah, man, don't be like that. Or it's like, hey, this person left, and I'm going to turn the TV off anytime this guy is now playing against my team, and whatever the case may be. But it's like everybody's got an opinion, but leave the guy alone. The fact is, he's enjoying what he's doing, and to me, I love seeing him. I love the fact he's got the same music, which is great. Beth Phoenix does the you think you know him line, so it's at the beginning of it, and we'll see him in the ring again with Christian Cage. It's bringing back a lot of old memories and cool memories and this and that, and it'll be interesting to see where they go with him. But the promo to close at the show, the two guys hugging, I thought Christian was going to hit him with the belt, but not yet. And then obviously Luchasaurus going into Tuesday next week. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Tony Khan, AEW, and Adam Copeland, see where they go, and talk about dream matches. And that was another thing he had said as well this week, Adam Copeland, was the fact is he's got a whole list of people that he wants to battle. And it's like old faces, new faces, whatever the case may be. And one of the articles I saw today, it was like a dream match. It's like, what happens if he went to go wrestle in Japan against Okada? Can you friggin' imagine that? You got friggin' Adam Copeland on one side, and he's still going by the Rated R Superstar, by the way, taking on Kazuchika Okada, the Rainmaker. Man, it's like, here's my money. Can you imagine at Wrestle Kingdom? Man, definitely here's my money. So it'll be interesting to see. On top of that, Wrestle Dream thoughts, MJF retained Kingston, Kofi Kingston again. 5 shows in, guys, and that's not the first time I did it. Eddie Kingston retained, Statlander retained, Christian Cage retained. It was, I'll say my predictions, they weren't the greatest. And my buddy Sean, he's got his own kind of fantasy league as far as predictions go. And so when I do predicts, because a lot of times I'm not sure some of the matches, I'll do the predictions, and then sure enough, I'll get off the air, and then probably about 20 minutes later, I'll send them over to him. But it's always the same prediction, so I don't change my mind. That being said, I sucked at my Wrestle Dream predictions. 14 matches, and I probably maybe got 6 right. I haven't gone back and checked, but I really don't want to. But he does a rundown every couple months of where you are. I won the first half of the year pool, which is great. But second half, I don't think I'm gonna. No way in the world I'm gonna win. That being said, Dynamite thoughts from not last night. So used to doing this on Thursday, but it is Fridays. But this past Wednesday, Hobbs is now part of the Don Callis family. AEW Dynamite viewership drops in the US, but has the largest audience in Canada since August the 30th. So that was released by Post Wrestling there. So good for them. And it's going to be interesting next week. AEW Dynamite on Tuesday. And I'll get more into that in a little bit there. Adam Copeland, once again, files several trademarks on the day of his AEW debut. So I'm going to bring that up because I cannot for the life of me remember some of the names. Now, some of the names are cool. Some of them I'm like, where does that even come from? But that being said, multiple potential nicknames for Copeland and AEW have been revealed. So several trademarks were filed on the day of Adam Copeland's AEW debut. And I'm looking at the door. Never stare into a light directly. Now I'm seeing spots. Several trademarks are filed on the day of Adam Copeland's AEW debut at WrestleDream. Wet Yeti Inc. Who comes up with these names? That's not one of his nicknames, by the way. But that's a company, Wet Yeti Inc., filed to trademark Legend. Now it's spelled Ledgend. The Iconoclast. Like I'm not sure where does that even come up? Who comes up with stuff like that? The Rogue, which I understand, and then Cope as well. And those are filed on October the 1st, same day as WrestleDream. On this the article, the Wrestling Observer, by the way, goes on to say U.S. Patent and Trademark Office does not currently have any recent filings for Irradiator Superstar. My wife's on her way to the Superstore right now. That's why I said that. With the latest trademark of the name having been abandoned by WB in May of 2020. However, WB continues to hold an active trademark for the name Edge. What's even more interesting, you go through the article, no trademarks. This wasn't it is interesting, but it's not. No trademarks have been filed for Copeland's old independent wrestling name, Sexton Hardcastle. Yes, he did go by that name. And it further goes on to say it was at one point in here. Maybe they took it out. Oh, no, I missed it. I was bypassing too quick. A trademark for Edge and Christian was also abandoned in WWE in 2003. So that is interesting right there. But yeah, so Adam Copeland all set up for nicknames and gear and merch and everything else. So buy his gear, guys. Make him feel welcome. AEW, I've been a fan since day one. But I'm not too happy with the internet fans crapping on him this past week. I'll tell you that much there. Jade Cargill slated to be at WWE Fastlane. It'll be interesting to see tomorrow night how she fits in. Now they've got Asuka taking on Charlotte Flair, taking on Io Sky for the WWE Women's Championship. But does she play into that? Because the rumor has it that she's going to Monday Night Raw. That being said, does she get involved in that match? Is it like a post-match kind of stare down, whatever the case may be, and then throws fans off because that is SmackDown related, and the next thing you know, she does show up on Raw? Or does something happen with regards to Rhea Ripley? And if that's the case, Ripley, so there's been rumors of Judgment Day, so Dominic as well as Rhea going off on their own. Rhea could become a huge, easy babyface there, and Dom going along with there. Jade Cargill, to me, is one of those people who should always be a heel or works better as a heel, so to speak. So what do you do? A stare down between Ripley as well as Jade Cargill. Man, take my money there. It's just two beasts, athletes, their presence. When I say beast, I don't mean that in a bad way at all. I just mean their presence is felt. You can see it on air, and you can see it, when they're in the ring. And Jade's still, improving in this and that. And, I wish her nothing but the best as far as WB goes. It'll be interesting tomorrow night if she does show up and how she does show up. Try to, I don't know if I'm talking too quick or what, but just about to cough, and I kept it in. Anyways, AEW's Adam Cole provides injury update. 2 surgeries needed. That was on the 5th. So he was on Twitch. Basically, I'll just read you the first little bit about it, just to give everybody a heads up with regards to the article. Where are we here? I'm a little more organized tonight. It's a Friday thing. I don't know. So Cole will need 8 screws and a plate inserted into his ankle. Adam Cole provided an injury update during a Twitch stream on Thursday. Cole broke his ankle during a run-in on AEW Dynamite Grand Slam on September 20th, but it says he's not clear exactly how the injury occurred. Told followers on Twitch that today this injury required 2 surgeries and involved 8 screws and a plate being inserted into his ankle. He goes on to say, obviously, as many people know, my ankle is broken, Cole said, and when it's all said and done, when I'm eventually able to get everything all fixed, I'm going to need to get 2 surgeries, and it will be a total of 8 screws and a plate in my ankle. So not ideal. It's incredibly painful, and it's the most painful injury he's ever had. So thoughts and prayers are with Adam Cole and getting better quick. He's not had the best of luck when it comes to AEW and being a performer on all that jazz, but he will come back, and he will be, it'll be interesting to see what happens between him and MJF when he does come back there. Where are we here? CM Punk in talks for WWE return. This was just today that came out. Survivor Series takes place November the 25th in Chicago. So, guys, it could be happening. It's and it's not like it's just some small website out there reporting this stuff. It was Wrestling Observer reporting this stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, WWE are sometimes the kings and queens of throwing people off as far as what they say. Nick Khan, when he was asked about it, he was like, oh yeah, Phil did great here, and we wish him nothing but the best. And next thing you know, if they're going to make it happen in Chicago. And it's interesting, when he debuted for AEW, it was in Chicago. And if the buzz is hyped up enough and he's still able to wrestle, man, Chicago Survivor Series, it's going to create a buzz. I mean, it's too bad WB Network, I'm not knock on wood, because the fact is, I love the WWE Network because I pay like $15 a month, and I get every show on there, including tomorrow night for Fastlane. But it's one of those things. It's like, man, I guess his merch. But then why would you have CM Punk merch at an event that he's not even advertised for? I don't know. Yeah, what I'm trying to say is basically, if they could get pay-per-view buys on CM Punk potentially returning to WWE after the long absence he's had, then well, I don't know, but they're a machine, so they'll figure out a way to make as much money as possible. Mariah, I want to say that if pronouncing, it's got to be Mariah. Mariah May, expected to join AEW. Don't know too much about her at all. I've been hearing her name quite a bit, but apparently she's joining AEW. There's that cough. Excuse me. So that is on the 6th. And she Stardom, she was in Stardom anyways, and then she made a comment about having to catch a plane, and I guess that plane is heading to AEW. This kind of breaks my heart, and but it's one continuous kind of bad TV show, so to speak. Tammy Sytch to be sentenced on November 27th for DUI manslaughter case. And why I say it breaks my heart, because when she was on screen as a character, as Sunny, she was phenomenal. She looked happy, healthy, whatever the case may be. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, everything happens with Candido, and then her life just goes to hell. But it's continuously gone to hell. I mean, I remember doing my podcast, back, I want to say 6-7 years ago, talking about this sort of stuff. When it was a different podcast and we did roundtable style, and it wasn't video, it was just audio. But the fact is, talking about this stuff back then, and then all of a sudden this. So short story is this. Postwrestling.com, Tammy Sytch will be sentenced next month stemming from her DUI manslaughter case in Florida. March 2022, Sytch struck a vehicle from behind, killing 75-year-old Julian Lassiter in Ormond Beach, Florida. Sytch is facing up to 26 years in prison, will be sentenced on November 27th, facing charges of DUI manslaughter, driving with a suspended license causing death, 4 counts of DUI causing injury to a person, 3 counts of DUI causing damage to property. And it goes on to say, 1 hour after the crash, Sytch's blood alcohol level registered at 0.32 and 0.36. An open bottle of Grey Goose vodka was discovered in Sytch's passenger seat of the vehicle. And says she pled no contest back in August, and she's been in custody since May of 2022. So it's the end, so to speak, with regards to Tammy Sytch. And basically, I think it went on to say she could be in prison well into her 70s. And it's a sad story because she never got the help she needed. And it's, it's horrible, but it's coming to an end. That's the best way to be able to look at things for her. Coming to an end from another new beginning. NXT versus AEW, man, taking place Tuesday. Title Tuesday for AEW, they're calling it. So that is taking place Tuesday the 10th, Tony Khan's birthday, as he has shouted out quite a few times. NXT, as of right now, has Carmelo Hayes and John Cena. Yes, John Cena in his corner, taking on Braun Breaker. And when I was referencing Breaker earlier, it was because of the fact, how do you lose the Baron Corbin and then go main event against Carmelo Hayes? But then, yeah, I guess you got, loser versus loser, so to speak. And that's not just all. It's Hayes with Cena. And then to balance things out, you got Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker's corner. I mean, how does the bloodline feel about this? And is he going to hear it? Is he going to feel it from the bloodline? Is Roman Reigns got to get up in his face about it? And if that's the case, I mean, or is it, hey, one night only, and basically Paul Heyman's down in NXT, and it's never talked about or never referenced as far as the bloodline goes. But how is that even possible? I don't know. It's going to be interesting next Tuesday, but on top of that match, WWE's got Roxanne Perez taking on Asuka. Cody Rhodes with a major announcement. It's been rumored that basically it's going to be with regards to, the Dusty Rhodes tag team tournament there. Jade Cargill appearance, that could happen as well. And then AEW on the other side of things. Basically, WWE is going out and pulling all the stops. And then it made me laugh, because the fact is, this past Tuesday, I went to go watch NXT, and sure enough, I hate this. So TSN, Sportsnet, I think each have about 5, or I know TSN's got 5, and then Sportsnet I think has 5, 6, or 7, depending on if you want to count the 4K channel, whatever the case may be. To me, why, as a paying subscriber, and a little bit of a rant here, as a paying subscriber, why do I got to sit there and go online? And I'm talking like going on my phone or going on my laptop or whatever the case may be, or to be able to watch NXT on a Tuesday when it should be on 360. So Sportsnet 360. They had something else on there. I was like, I think it was baseball, or I don't know. I don't even think it was baseball. I forget what it was. So I went to go watch NXT on Tuesday. I couldn't. Okay, you have 5 channels and you knocked friggin' NXT out of the friggin' schedule. And it's like, man, it's like, oh, it's going to be on at midnight. It's like, I'm not staying awake that long to watch NXT. And then next thing you know, I see the meme on the internet. It's about Triple H, and he looks like he's calling, Phil Brooks, so CM Punk, and he's like, hey, I know we talked about Survivor Series, and this is a meme, by the way. How about you show up next Tuesday instead? And it's like, what is going on? And then, I'm on the internet the next day, so Wednesday, and I'm seeing all this stuff, and I'm like, wow, man, they are loading up. And then Wednesday was AEW's chance to do what they wanted to do as well. So when they call it Title Tuesday, and Tony Khan, when he's got something on his mind or he's created something, you hear about it. So Grand Slam, Title Tuesday, whatever the case may be, the anniversary show that took place on Wednesday as well. But AEW announced Copeland versus Luchasaurus, which we already knew about. Saraya taking on Shida for the title. Phoenix taking on Moxley for the title. Danielson taking on Swerve with the TNT title #1 contendership on the line. Jay White taking on Hangman, and then Jericho taking on the newly acquainted, is that the right word? Newest member of the Don Callis family, and I almost said Walter Hobbs. Walter Hobbs is from Elf, guys. Christmas season is coming up, but no, Powerhouse Hobbs. Powerhouse Walter. Is it Walter? No, what's this? I forget his friggin' first name at this point. Man, this it can't be Walter Hobbs. Anyways, whatever. I'll leave it for another show. I'll tell everybody about my what I've discovered next week. 38 minutes, so 22 left before SmackDown is on the air, and it is important for me to watch it tonight. I'll get to that at the end of the show as well. But SmackDown matches tonight. Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso are following Damian Priest and Finn Balor to SmackDown. So all Raw talents, by the way. Asuka and Charlotte Flair taking on Damage Control. That is Io Sky champion, as well as Bayley. Dakota Kai is still injured. Dragon Lee taking on Austin Theory. Rey Mysterio taking on Bobby Lashley. The LWO comments I made earlier, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And the Rampage matches tonight, Johnny TV. So Johnny, Taya Valkyrie's husband. Everybody knows who he is. Commander, Lince Dorado, and Penta, all in a 4-way match. And the winner gets an ROH World Championship shot against almost did it again, Eddie Kingston. Statlander and Shida taking on Nyla Rose and Marina Shafir. Daddy Magic, Cool Hand Edge, Jake Hager, as well as I almost said Lillian Garcia, but Daniel Garcia taking on the Hardys and the Best Friends. And then upcoming, I'm almost there, guys, getting into some indie stuff in the next few minutes because I need a drink. So upcoming in PLE pay-per-view special events taking place, Fastlane 2023 taking place tomorrow night. I will be doing a prediction show that will launch on cwonline.ca at 3 p.m. tomorrow, but it'll also be on Facebook, Twitch, as well as YouTube. I may go live. I don't know yet for sure, but I may go live, so we'll have to wait and see. Chances are I will go live. So Rollins taking on Nakamura, last man standing match. Cena and Knight taking on Jimmy and Solo Sikoa. Io Sky taking on Asuka and Flair in the triple threat match for the championship. Judgment Day taking on Rhodes, as well as Jey Uso. Championships on the line there. And then the LWO and Lashley. At this point, Rey Mysterio is part of the LWO in that match tomorrow, taking on the Street Profits. I don't know if they do an injury angle tonight with Rey Mysterio, and that's how Dragon Lee becomes a part of the LWO. But it said specifically in the article I read, leaving. Well, it wasn't the article. It was on Slam Wrestling, their news and rumors section. Said could be leaving the LWO. So it's curious. I'm curious to see how that's going to play out tonight. And then from there, New Japan Pro Wrestling Destruction and Ryo Goko. I'm going to get that right for next week. That is on the 9th. Well, yeah, I'll be talking about it, what happens next week. Ishii, Okada, and Tanahashi. Sorry, sometimes I don't put the verses in there and I put a slash. Sometimes I confuse myself, which happens quite often now that I'm older. Taking on the Motor City Machine Guns and Josh Alexander. Never Openweight 6-man tag team championships are on the line. That is on New Japan World, by the way, guys. And New Japan Pro Wrestling Royal Quest 3 in London, England. Like I said, it's taking place. That is on the 14th coming up. And Ospreay and Zack Sabre Jr. for the IWGP UK US Championship is on the line. UFC 294 taking place on the 21st. That is Makachev taking on Oliveira. And then Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory 2023 on the 21st as well, shaping up to be huge. So you get Josh Alexander taking on Alex Shelley with the title on the line. Mike Bailey taking on Will Ospreay. Trinity taking on Mickey James. Chris Sabin taking on New Japan's Kenta. MK Ultra taking on Purrazzo and Steels. That's an interesting tag team right there. And then the Rascals or Callahan and Swan. That is to be determined next week. If you've listened to the show, you know what's going to happen there. But the Rascals and the Rascals, Callahan, and Swan will face off for the championships next week on Impact. And the winners will take on ABC. ABC getting their rematch there. No, excuse me. And then upcoming Canadian MMA taking place. So BTC 22 Battle Zone, Burlington Training Center, Burlington, Ontario, 6 p.m. That is on the 18th of November. And also on the 18th of November, Fight Lake Atlantic 12, Moncton Coliseum, Moncton, New Brunswick, 7 o'clock p.m. Atlantic time. And like I said, that is on the 18th as well. Man, I need a drink. I talk too quick sometimes, and tonight is one of those nights, guys. But I'm going to get rid of these banners here. And as I always do, I'm going to play a promo by Hammerlock Pure Wrestling. Get a drink, and I will be back with everybody momentarily here. So stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Thank you for watching, listening. If you're listening or watching a post show, thank you very much as well. Remember to hit that like, subscribe thing, and all that jazz. I should also mention I also deal with allergies, so to speak. I've got 2 cats and a dog, and this weather causes havoc on me. So. Anyways, I forgot to take an allergy pill before I started the show here. So, but that is playing up into the cough as well as the catching my breath, so to speak. I didn't realize it was a huge thing, by the way. But Lance Storm, I was listening to a podcast. He was doing there yesterday, and he was talking about it and the allergies and everything else, and how bad it was for him. To the point that he's in tremendous shape, but he's had to miss the gym, and they put him on a medication and some kind of allergic reaction, and they might have to put him on I think it's called CPAP machine. I've seen it because my stepdad has one, never wears it. His was with regards to snoring, by the way. But Lance Storm had said on the podcast that basically, with regards to him, he was low energy and not getting a good night's sleep and whatever the case may be. So that's why he's getting checked out. And anyways, if it's good enough for Lance Storm, it's good enough for me to talk about as well. But guys, the Hammerlock promo, there was another one that was supposed to air, but I didn't have enough time before the show. Sean had sent me a promo with regards to Monday's show in Dorchester. And, if I had the time to do it properly, I would have done it. But unfortunately, I couldn't. I didn't have enough time to. I'm very picky with regards to my editing, as well as everything that goes on with graphics and stuff like that. And it wasn't working for me. So I was just like, you know what? I will talk about it instead. And that being said, I'll go. We'll talk about the Rogers deal as well. Anyways, Canadian Independent Wrestling, guys. Hammerlock Pure Wrestling taking place every Friday night, Rogers TV, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern. That is on the schedule, depending on where the night's games and the wrap finish up. But tonight, listed for with regards to the matches, Drifters taking on Bryce Hanson and Jesse Loon, Michael Grayson taking on Brickhouse and Mick McGuire, Brian White taking on Vikram Prasher. I'm getting better pronouncing his name for the number one contenders match to see who challenges Roddy Matthews. And then next Friday, the 13th, yes, Friday the 13th, a lot of bikers will be going to Port Dover here in Ontario. It's a thing. Look it up. Miley's taking on Vanna Black in a no DQ rematch. Moondog Ethan Dukes taking on Brian White, and then Rodney Matthews taking on the winner of the number one contenders match, taking place tonight between Brian White as well as Vikram Prasher. That's I should have read that over before I talked about it, because there's a spoiler in there. I'll see if people can pick it up, but yeah, there's a little bit of a spoiler in there. That's why I'm chuckling. But anyway, guys, upcoming Canadian indie wrestling events taking place in the near future. So Barrie Wrestling presents Karma. This is why we can't have nice things in Barrie. That's taking place tomorrow. Hammerlock Pure Wrestling Dorchester Fair tomorrow. Sorry, not tomorrow. 1 o'clock in Dorchester on the 9th. So that is Monday, Thanksgiving Monday. Yeah, and you go into the fair. I think it's $7 for admission or something like that. But that $7 admission gives you the ability to watch Hammerlock Pure Wrestling. So there's a whole bunch of matches taking place. Check them out on social media. Go to cwnonline.ca. Just type in Hammerlock Pure Wrestling. You'll be able to find all the social media accounts, or just go to Facebook, Instagram, or X, or whatever the case may be, and look them up there. Sean will have that promo video that I was talking about earlier up on there. So guys, check that out. But Dorchester on the Thanksgiving Monday coming up, and that's 1 o'clock at the Dorchester Fair. CWE featuring the Mountie, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. That is on the 13th. Greektown Wrestling featuring Stu Grayson in London on the 13th as well. Still on the fence about going to that show. I want to. It's just a matter of if there's anything else going on. I've got to check with my wife. Yes, doing the husband duties. Live Pro Wrestling Charity Fundraising Event and Barbecue presented by Joe Dog Hallam in Goderich, Ontario. That is on the 14th. Guys, you can check this out all on Facebook, by the way. So type in Canadian Independent Wrestling, go to the page, not the group, and you'll find all these events listed there. You can get more information that way. Greektown Wrestling, if I can read, featuring Homicide in Hamilton, Ontario. That is on the 14th. Greektown Wrestling is again, so 3 shows in 3 days, featuring Conan in Toronto. That is on the 15th. And then Hammerlock Pure Wrestling at Job Site Brewing Company at 7 o'clock p.m. in Stratford, Ontario. And that is on the 4th. So I got to figure out a better way. I know I mentioned this last time too. I got to figure out a better way to do this. I get to the very end of the notes. I look like that old man, and believe me, I am an old man. So I always comment on being old, because I was out to dinner a couple of years ago with my wife, and we went to the Keg, and it was like one of the first real dates that we had after kind of pandemic. They had all that sort of stuff with regards to, you had to have the vaccine certificates, whatever the case may be, on your phone, as long as you showed that. And it was really weird and interesting all at the same time, because the fact you're around other people and they're safe, but it's still, you're in a restaurant and there's no masks, And I remember, I think going to the bathroom, whatever the case might be, I went, put on the mask to get back to the table. I think there were the rules, and they had the social distancing thing still going on, everything else. But I'm sitting there, and I thought it was the lighting. And sure enough, I'm like reading the menu. I get the menu up here, like right in front of me. And I had to literally do this, and it's playing the trombone. It's an old school Christmas movie I'm referencing, by the way, but it's literally playing the trombone, and I could see if I stuck, if people, listening to audio, no clue what I'm doing right now, but the further I had it away, the better I could read the words. I was like, man, I thought it was the lighting. And then at the time I was working at Home Depot, and I'd be in the aisles, and I thought it was the lighting again. And it's like I'd be, checking out the small print and stuff like that, and I'd be like, you know what? So went to the optometrist, so to speak, and sure enough, it's I was what do they call it? Nearsighted or farsighted? I forget which one it is, but I needed cheaters. So sure enough, Home Depot sold them. It was like 2-pack for like $10 or whatever, and they came with this like little case. I was like, all right, I'm sold. So I ended up buying them. And so every now and then I have to use the cheaters. And 9 times out of 10, when my wife is home, I'm like, nope, not doing that. So if something's too small, I'll get her to read it. And, pretty much happens once a week, I would say. But that's the reference to me getting old. And I felt old back at the keg a couple of years ago. So yeah, that's where all that comes from. And plus the gray hairs. And I've got 3 wonderful daughters, that remind me as well that I'm getting up there, and 50 is coming sooner than I think. When I'm at the 50-minute mark, imagine that. And one more thing I want to mention, guys, with regards to independent pro wrestling. Wrestling is Life is Wrestling with Cody Deaner, episode number 12, David Sahadi. That was released yesterday, part 1. That is on platforms everywhere, but mainly on YouTube. So guys, check that out there. I'm a fan of Cody Deaner for a lot of reasons, but I subscribe to his Patreon. So guys, if you got an extra couple bucks, feel free to send it his way. Subscribe to his Patreon, and you can see the whole episode in its entirety at once. No commercials. You just get to watch the episode there. And like I said, it's not necessarily an episode. It's more like a conversation, because the way he does it, it's and I've told him this. I got to see him at a show back in, I think it was August. I said, man, you're doing great. I said, you're doing phenomenal. And it wasn't, me just being a mark, so to speak. But, it was he's doing great. And he's had quite a few guests in 12 episodes in. And I hope he continues. It'd be interesting to see. So that is it. It was kind of why it was story time as far as my old age went, because I've got nothing else to talk about. I do have a few more things I want to say, though, before I get off the air here, just in time for SmackDown. But Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame 2024 class takes place officially Thursday, January 18th, 2024. Voting begins on Wednesday, November 1st, 2023. So coming up soon, guys. And, I reached out to a few people, got some names I'm going to add to the ballot, so to speak. But yeah, live voting will launch on November the 1st, and I'm excited for it, because January will be here before you know it. And as opposed to t-shirt, I'll put on that. I think I've done it three years in a row now, but I've got this I don't know if you call them checkered anymore. That's how I grew up with the word checkered when I was a kid, but it's flannel. I think it's flannel nowadays, but yeah, it's got to be flannel, because I have flannel PJs. Comfy as heck too, and that's why I like that shirt. But anyways, you'll see me dress up. When I say dress up, it'll just be a baseball hat and that shirt. But that'll be January 18th of next year, guys, for the 2024 class. Tomorrow, you can follow along with me as I'm watching Fastlane. I'll be doing a live recap for WWE Fastlane 2023 on WrestlingObserver.com. So check out that. Just look for my, you can type in Chris Maloney on Wrestling Observer, or you can just look for my handsome face along with the article. But yeah, guys, check that out tomorrow, October 7th. Tomorrow night, I'll be doing, I guess I'll be starting at 7-ish. Going until about 11:30, because the kickoff shows and everything else that go along with it. But it's looking to be a great card. I'm curious, like I said, about the LWO and Rey Mysterio tonight. But yeah, guys, follow along WrestlingObserver.com tomorrow night as I do WWE Fastlane 2023. I've done 2, mainly it's all Impact Wrestling, but I've done 1 NXT show. I've done 2 SmackDown shows at this point, but it'll be my first pay-per-view, PLE, for the WB live tomorrow night on the WrestlingObserver.com. So guys, check that out there. I'll post links on my social media as well. CWM predicts WB Fastlane 20. Busy day tomorrow. Forgot about the predicts, man, but I love wrestling. CWM predicts WB Fastlane 2023. That is tomorrow as well. Like I said, 3 p.m. You'll find it on cwnonline.ca, but Facebook, Twitch, as well as YouTube. I've got the fan on to the side of me, and I'm just like starting to get cold, so it's going to be getting colder outside. Throwdown with Chris Maloney, episode number 6. To be determined sometime next week, just a matter of how everything plays out. It will not be on Sunday or Monday. Thanksgiving weekend here in Canada. So, but be towards the end of the week. I just have to figure out scheduling there, and especially it probably won't be on the Friday either, because the fact is Greektown Wrestling's in London. Kind of want to be part of that to go, like I said, meet Stu Grace and get my autograph on my wrestling figure from him. And always a good time at Greektown Wrestling there. I want to say this as well. Happy birthday to my dad tomorrow. His birthday is on the 7th. A lot of 7ths as far as the show went. But yeah, happy birthday to my dad. Love you and miss you. And, it was great spending time with you up here in London during the summer. We did some pretty cool stuff, my dad's birthday's tomorrow. So happy birthday to my dad. And on top of that, happy Thanksgiving weekend, guys. It is Thanksgiving weekend here in Canada. And with that being said, it's tradition. It's different down the States, because down the States, you've got, the Thursday. I'm not sure if I was stateside, how that would play out, because how do you have Thanksgiving on the Thursday, have the weekend ahead of you as well? And what do you do on that Friday? Because on top of American Thanksgiving, you get so much football there as well. But I'm in Canada. So, we don't worry about that stuff there. We just kind of, worry about, hey, are we celebrating on the Sunday? Are we celebrating on the Monday? You know what you do? You celebrate both days. And you basically, especially when you're married, you have certain family things. It's tougher at Christmas time, I tell you that much. But Thanksgiving, it's always, like my wife's got something tomorrow on the Saturday. I won't be there because I'll be doing, obviously the Wrestling Observer thing, which I'm fine with, and she knows about. Sunday is my family, and then Monday I think we're doing her family again as well. So it's it's great. It's gaining 10 to 15 pounds in a matter of a couple of days, but it is great, celebrating for 2 days there. And I just looked at the countdown there, and I'm like 4 minutes left until SmackDown's on. So yeah, that's it, guys. If you listen, sorry, I'm trying to multitask. If you watch or listen, thank you very much. Hit the like, subscribe button. And if you have any ideas, Chris at cwnonline.ca, that's my email there. You can get in touch with me easily, or follow me on social media at Chris Maloney CWN. So guys, that is it. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy Thanksgiving if you're here in Canada. Enjoy wrestling this weekend as well. Follow along with me, WrestlingObserver.com tomorrow. But most importantly, cwnonline.ca always. So guys, as I always say, thank you very much for watching and listening. And I will see screw up. That's 2 weeks in a row now. I will talk to everybody again sometimes. That didn't even sound right. Bye, guys.